Welcome to another edition of PlusUltra Reviews, brought to you guys by the Bros Who Think Network. My name is Lynden Burton, your host as always, the guy joining you. I'm not even a host for these things. I'm just a guy here to review manga chapters, things you love and I love the same. We're here once again to talk about My Hero Academia. This week we're talking about chapter 223, and like always, when we start these videos, we have to do an intro on what happened in last chapter. So look, last chapter was interesting, man, because we're still on this My Villain Academia tip. We're still having to show how we got to where we are today, and with last week, it was the final chapter of this almost. Not necessarily the final chapter, but it's the final bit of backstory before we get to the present. And last week we see Shigaraki's backstory on full blast. We find out that the doctor and All For One took him in, gave him a place to stay, trained him, showed him how to harness his hate, but on top of that, Shigaraki killed his entire family with his hands, and that's what each of those hands are, a member of his family's hands. And every time he wears those hands, it gives him peace, but it also gives him just a sense of, damn, that hatred that I had and that all that anger, it's still there, and it makes me want to vomit. And we see a flashback to that of when he was a kid, and we see him trying to remember what happened, and when the doctor tells him what happened, he just starts puking because his memories are fragmented due to the trauma. At least that's what I believe. I believe he can't clearly remember his full backstory due to the fact that it was so traumatic. And like I said last week, if his backstory is so traumatic, and you have to remember, he is All For One's, he's All Might's master's grandson. So if that's the case, what happened from All Might's master to Tomura that made the family so bad for him, or made it to where he wanted to kill his family? That's something that I'm waiting to see unfold, and waiting to see the layers peeled back, because you got to remember, All For One told All Might that for a reason. We there's certain things that Hirokoshi has held from us, and that's something that he has given us off rip. Like, he's given us that quite early into the story in the All Might All For One fight, or maybe even before that. And we found that out, and that's something that I think is going to really be harkened back as soon as Tomura comes in contact with All Might's going to start thinking about it. I can't wait to see that interaction. But in terms of this chapter, chapter 222, it's pretty much showing the backstory of Tomura and just showing how he gets his villain mantra. He goes to state that even if he conquers the underworld, the hero society falls, he still will have that hole in his heart, that anger, that lump that's there. He just wants to destroy everything because everything makes him sick. And it's interesting because Toga was like, yo, what about the stuff I love? Like, does that mean like I can't do my wishes? And he was like, nah, my comrades get whatever they want. My wishes don't come into, like, don't interfere with theirs. As long as I get what I want, they can have what they want, or they can have what they want, I get what I want, we're all good. And I think that's interesting. To me, that's the smallest amount of care that we've seen from him. He cares about his subordinates enough to where their wishes matter, at least a small amount. Like, at least to them, he's like, yo, y'all get what y'all want. And that is probably what endures them to him. And that's something that can show that, like, yo, he's a good enough leader because he cares about us. He's gonna do for us what All For One did for him. And I hope that that's the case. And it's humanizing Shigaraki, because he can't just be this, oh, I want to destroy this all the time. He has to have some humanizing qualities to him. And I think that small dose of it was enough for me, at least, to be like, oh, okay, word. Like, I can't relate to him, but like, that's the closest amount that we can get to it. And if we build on that, it'll make Shigaraki a more complex villain. Because if you see, after the initiation of the League of Villains and putting him in control, we've had other villains take place. Because like I said before, we have to build him up. As we build up Deku, we have to build up Tomura for the finale clash between the two. So as Deku builds, Tomura has to build. As Shigaraki builds, Deku has to build. So it's great to see we're getting that built of the League of Villains. And to close off this intro, the chapter really ends with Gigante Mashiach, they have to fight him. They have to get him to submit, because if he submits to them, the doctor will give them full funding, will give them everything they need to accomplish their goals. And that's pretty much how the chapter ends. And this chapter is a doozy, because now we're getting into present day. So without further ado, let's get into the review of chapter 223. This week's chapter begins with Gigante Mashiach and Tomura fighting, because if you remember from last chapter, Tomura has to get Gigante to submit, because if he doesn't, well, he won't get the funds and the resources of the doctor. He won't get his full support. So we see Twice and Mr. Compress helping Shigaraki battle him, and we find out that, look, the king is in trouble, because Spinner and Toga are talking, and Spinner's like, yo, it's been a month and a half since we discussed with the doctor, and Gigante still hasn't accepted Shigaraki. The guy is so strong, he can attack without rest for 48 hours and 44 minutes straight. He sleeps for 3 hours before he starts attacking again. He's so strong, his body grows in battle, and his senses of smell and ears are so strong that as soon as they hit him while he's asleep, he can wake up and instantly start fighting him, or he can always find their location of where they're at. However, even though it's been a month and a half with no sleep for Shigaraki, he's still managing. He wants this more than anything. And we find out that Spinner has begun to question the League of Villains stance, because you have to remember, Spinner got in all of this because of Stain, and he seems like that there's no more Stain's influence. He asked Toga, like, yo, how do you still do this without Stain, the influence of Stain? He's obviously not influencing our group. And Toga's just like, look, I love Stain, I love Deku, I love Ochoa, and I just want to become everybody I love. And Spinner's really at a crossroads right now, because he doesn't know if the gang is still following its code. But at the time, Giganto's asleep right now, and all of a sudden, the League is talking. But we find out that Tomura is getting stronger, he's getting closer each time, and he's about to get it done. And all of a sudden, they're getting a call from Jiren. And the guy starts talking, he's like, yo, Jiren, what's up? This is Twice, like, what's popping? And we find out it's a voice. It's not his voice, because we know whose voice it is, but they don't. And they're like, who is this? And they find out that Jiren's been missing, and they're checking the news, and they discover there's a finger left in each place where they've been, the locations where they've done their acts. And we find out that this is none other than Redestro, the commander of the Meta Liberation Army, or the head of the Dinarak Corporation. He's telling them, look, we're the Liberation Meta Armies, and we're here to tear down the framework of this existing world, and you guys can't stop us, and we're going to do what it takes to make sure that we take down the government and get our ideals up. And basically, Tomura's like, first the Yakuza, now you guys, what's up with all these old relics of the past trying to make comebacks? And Tomura's like, yo, let go of our broker now before we kick your ass. And he's like, hear me out, because we're not about to release our hostage. We're not about to do anything of that. We're gonna do what we want to do. And he tells him how the Jiren didn't snitch not one bit as they started cutting his fingers off. Ooh, it's grody. They started cutting his fingers off, and he was like, nah, I'm not a snitch, but he's a real one. We learned the members of the Dinarak Corporation, we learned that leading it at the company, the Feel Good Inc. board member is Tomosa Chikazaku. We learned that the Hearts and Mind Party leader is Koku Hananabata. And we learned that the Shuash Publishing executive director is Chitoshi Kiziku. And we learned that the president and CEO of Dinarat is Rikiya Yotubayashi. But I'm just going to call him Redestro, of course. And these are who I believe the League of Villains is going to have to fight. He also tells them that there's 116,516 members of the fellow Liberation Warriors that are ready to bust up in action and to make what has to happen. And basically, he's like, we're going to take y'all down. We know where y'all are at. We could just tell Endeavor, Hawks, Edshot, Tilio, come through, but we don't want to do that. Your name's gotten too big, and Destro must be the one to take you down, and we're about to start a war. Consider the fingers that we sent to you guys a proof of our resolve, because we're going to fight to liberate the meadows of this world. And now this war has begun. And basically the last page just shows a showdown of the face of Redestro and Tomoe Shigaraki, and it's about to go down. And I'm super, super excited to see where this leads next. But that's pretty much all we have for this review this week. Let's get into discussion and end the video. What a dope chapter. I don't even know where to begin. This chapter starts off with the dope fight of Giganto Mashiya and Tomoe. We see that it's been a whole month since they've talked to the doctor, about a month and a half actually, since they talked to the doctor, and it's like they're still battling Giganto. We find out that, look, Giganto, that homie fights for 48 hours and 44 minutes straight without sleep, sleeps for about 3 hours, then wakes up. His body can grow exponentially while he fights, but we also find out that Tomoe each fight is getting better and better and better, and he thinks he's close to figuring out, like, yo, I can almost get ready to beat Giganto. But Giganto doesn't really follow the other members of the League of Villains when he's fighting them, so they can interchange throughout. They can heal up, and then 2 more switch out, 2 more switch in, and they can tag team and help Tomoe to defeat him. And at the time of the chapter, Giganto's asleep, so we're seeing our guys really just taking a break. And what's interesting is, before we get into the main meat of everything, I think this is something that's big, because Spinner this is the second time he's mentioned, yo, the Stain influence is damn near gone. And he asks Toga, why are you still doing this? And it's interesting because we find out that Toga's like, yo, I love Stain, I love Deku, I love Ochoa. I'm just trying to turn into people who I love. And Spinner's like, you're so free. And I feel like his decision of staying in the League of Villains is haunting him. And we're going to come to find out that either he's going to leave or he's going to challenge Tomoe and he's going to die. So, like, I don't see a happy ending for Spinner from all of this, unless he can come to find his master's resolve and see that his master does somewhat resemble Stain. If not, that dude's out of here, because there's no way this weight on his shoulders from Stain is going to keep him here much longer. At least, I don't think so. And we're going to see how it turns out. But the meat of the chapter begins, and boom, the Redestro, CEO of Dinnerat, straight up calls him, but he calls him from Jiren's phone, twice answers, twice like, yo, what the hell's going on? Where's Jiren? Put him on the phone, and Mr. Compressor's like, is that a voice changer? And they start talking, and basically we find out that Redestro is calling to tell them that we took off all of Jiren's fingers and we put them in the areas where you guys have committed your atrocities to show you our resolve, because we are the Metahumans Liberation Army, and we're going to follow to Destro's will. And Tomoe's like, why are all these relics of the past? First the Yakuza, now this Liberation Army. Why are all these people messing with me? I don't give a damn about any of y'all. Like, if y'all want some hype, we'll help y'all out a little bit. But other than that, leave me the fuck alone. And it's hilarious because he's like, nah, dog, you just don't get it. We know where you're at. We could tell Hawks, we could tell Endeavor, but we're not going to do that. We sent out your broker's fingers to send a message that we're coming for you. We have over 11,000 members that are ready to fight for our cause, and you guys have been making too much of a name for yourselves. We're not going to let the heroes destroy you. No, we're going to destroy you to send the message that the Liberation Army is back. And this was basically a declaration of war. It was dope because the fingers were laid out in a pattern of the L, like the L forehead, and we see that Redestro's doing that when he's facing off with Tomoe, really looking real Joker-esque in that frame. Shout out to Hirokoshi, just getting that inspiration from DC Comics. I really fuck with it, as you can see. My hero, DC Comics, love them both. So it's dope to see that inspiration, at least I feel, on the character. But I'm ready to see the war break out, man. It's time. But will Tomoe have Giganto Mashiya on his side by then? That would change the tides of battle. But it was also interesting because we got to see the other members of the corporation. I listed their names in the video and then in the review. But I think it's going to be kind of, I just finished One Piece, as you guys know. Caught up all the way, not finished, but caught up with the manga. And the Doflamingo family, how they all had a war, like everybody had to fight one of those people. I could see it being interesting where the League of Villains, each member is going to have to take one of the executives in the Dinnerat Corporation or one of the members of the lead of the Liberation Army. So I'm predicting that, but I can't wait to see how the heroes at My Hero Academia or at at the school can come and connect with this villain, like this villain battle. Are they going to interfere? What's Deku going to do? Like, what are the students going to do? How do the students get involved? Or is this going to be a pro hero thing? Are we going to see Endeavor? We're going to see Hawks? Are we going to see more big name heroes than our heroes? But it's interesting because our heroes now have licenses, so they can in fact get involved. So I want to see how they tie that together, because I'm pretty sure if not next chapter, the chapter after that, we're going to have to get back from My Villain Academia to My Hero Academia to see how all this ties together. But that's pretty much all the time we have for this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, why not subscribe? And be sure to be on the lookout for more videos involving My Hero Academia and more videos involving manga and anime coming to this channel very soon. In fact, I know I told you guys about the Hell Warden review series that we were going to do. And that's still coming, because it's just at the time of when I was going to do it, I got sick, and then the chapter really got heated up, and because we're learning a lot of backstory about Higuama's family and the demon that he's fighting right now. So instead of doing that right away, there's a new anime that's coming out that we're going to be reviewing on Anime Talk called Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, and I'm going to do a video of 5 reasons why you guys should watch that anime or read the manga. So be on the lookout for that, as well as we're probably going to do one for One Piece, because just finished that and I'm really excited and I want to talk about One Piece. But until next time, when we're reviewing more My Hero or you're watching our new series on YouTube, we will be talking to you again next time. But until then, enjoy yourself, enjoy your weekend, and keep reading manga in My Hero Academia. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, why not subscribe? Thank you. Until next time. Adieu.